Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's KMB, the Sexy Ninja.
And I'm Flix.
Happy Star Wars Day.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun, dun. What's funny is, like, it's always Star Wars Day for me.
Fair enough. I mean, anyone that watches your podcast knows that well enough.
Yeah, I heard me moan and groan about Last Jedi for the past, like, year and a half, so... But I want to wish everybody a happy Star Wars Day, and I want to just take this time real quick to be like, why do you love Star Wars?
See, I grew up with Star Wars. Star Wars was my youth. You know, I remember when the Star Wars special editions came out, the original ones, and, you know, I was young enough at the time it really didn't bother me all the changes it had made. It was like, oh, cool CG, like, neat, yada, yada, yada. And we had, like, the box set that had Vader on the front of it.
The gold one?
The gold one. And I watched those movies almost every other day. To the point where it was like my parents were like, okay, we need to watch something else.
I remember the special editions very well. I love the little mini documentary in the
beginning of it.
Where it's like, hey, this is what we changed, and this is what we changed, and you're like, yes. And I was young enough too.
When it was so cool though, because DVDs hadn't come out at that point in time, and that's something we're really used to on DVDs now.
Yeah.
But it was a VHS that gave us a behind the scenes look. That was crazy.
Yeah, and you know, and what's so crazy is like when Lucas had the films. And you fast forward to when the Blu-ray came out, when the Blu-ray set, I was watching a cool thing, how they released even more content of like, hey, here's deleted scenes you've never seen before, you know, like the sandstorm scene and this and that. And it was just like, and for me, my grandma got me into Star Wars. And, you know, rest in peace to her. She got me into it, and I just remember just falling in. And I fell in love with the aspect of being a kid from the reservation, being Luke, you know, and trying to find your destiny, your point in life, and, you know, living, you know, because he lives in Tatooine, and pretty much that's like, looks like the res.
I didn't know they filmed it.
And that aspect of it. But then I found out Han was much cooler. And then I wanted to be a smuggler, so writing that on a school paper, like, what do you want to be? A smuggler.
See, and with me, Luke was my guy. Like, he still is to this point, and it was the premise of, you know, Jedi, the space wizards. You know how cool it was to have that power and that responsibility to be a good guy. You know, you get Vader and Palpatine, who are these evil figures who have the same power, but they use it for evil, and that's what makes them, like, in the wrong. It's not like the power itself was wrong. That was in the wrong, and it was Peter. You know what I was thinking. But Luke's destiny of being the one to help and save people, and I've always loved those kind of heroes in stories. You know, the destined hero, but. You know, you have laser swords, so how can you improve beyond that?
You know, and the fun aspect of, like, the reason why I gravitated more towards Han is because he redeems himself at the end of Episode 4, you know, A New Hope, or just Star Wars in general. He redeemed himself by coming back, because he's like, I got a debt, you know, I got to take care of all my stuff, and then also he's like, all right, comes in, helps Luke out. Vader's like, and... You know, the first Star Wars movie, Star Wars, was something so special. Like, it's self-contained in itself. But for me, real quick, what is your favorite episode?
It's Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Let's see, and I like that. It's one of those. The reason I like Return of the Jedi better than most of the other ones is it is the end of the series where you actually get that ultimate good versus evil fight where good prevails. Now, don't get me wrong, Empire Strikes Back has a lot more, I'd say, story to it that gives kind of a good meaning to the universe you're setting up in for the Return of the Jedi. But, you know, between the action scene on Tatooine when they're on Jabba's ship, and then you get to the action scene at the end of the movie where you have the rebels attacking the Death Star. Well, no, attacking the Death Star.
Oh, okay.
Endor. The battle on Endor is okay.
The Ewoks?
The Ewoks are, I don't know, it's one of those, it makes you wonder why Stormtroopers even wear armor. Like, if sticks, rocks, and arrows can kill you, your armor isn't good enough.
Well, they already missed in the first place.
I know.
For me, Empire is always going to be my favorite because it has so much, like, depth especially towards the end, you're like, but I love them all. Well, there's one I don't love, but we'll just throw that over there. Just throw that over there. And I would say my second favorite to that is Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, because of, I think just alone the battle scene between him, Anakin, and Obi-Wan.
See, and that's but by that same right, like my favorite lightsaber duel in the entire series is from the first from Episode 1. The one with Maul and Obi-Wan versus...
You can't beat that. And the music behind that.
Yeah, Duel of Fates. But it's such good music, we literally know the name of the song. Yeah. Like, think about that. But I don't think Episode 1 is great. I love that fight scene. So I don't think one fight scene alone makes the movie phenomenal.
Well, Episode 3 too has a lot to it. They're like, if we could have skipped Episode 1 and Episode 2 and just got the 3 to be like, all right, here you go. Then you're breaking my heart, Annie.
I just think that the problem with the prequels is the villains, so to speak, because you get Dooku introduced in the second one. Oh, yeah. You can almost know, like, so it's one of those things. If you read what was the Legends universe and is now kind of nothing, evidently, but if you read that, things had so much more context to them. Like, and that's why Boba Fett's such a cool character in his own right, is because he has so much outside of the story. In the movies themselves, not really much. Like, Dooku shows up twice in...
The last time he shows up was like, swoop!
Yeah, he's essentially Grievous shows up twice. Once on that ship and then once on the battle where Obi-Wan beats him. Like, you have these villains that look like they can be real cool.
Still one of my favorite poses, because I've what was it, like with Obi-Wan where with the fingers? And I'm like, what are you doing? All right, you know what? I like that.
but it's just like the prequels I think get a lot of credit, but it's because you have the original trilogy, which has Vader as an established like badass and Palpatine. So you have these villains that kind of have depth to them. Palpatine doesn't really have much depth. He actually gets a lot more depth out of the prequels.
I constantly watch. If it's on, it's on. I'll put it on.
I'm surprised you don't have it on your phone and just constantly.
Yeah, just constantly like this. And I'm on. I'm always like trying to figure out some stuff in my head. And the prequels, I don't know. For me, after doing that big rewatch on my birthday, like all of them in order and stuff like that, they're kind of growing more on me as a fan. They're aging well. And to a lot of people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, for me, they age well. And the story itself is beautiful in the sense of this. Yes, there's aspects I can crap on. Like sand. You don't like sand. Okay, Anakin. And that creepy vibe between the both of them.
Now, let's be honest. The strength of the prequels was not their dialogue. They had this idea of really cool like scenes, and they needed to connect them somehow. So they just put all of it together.
Yes, so we shall see the story truly come to an end in December with
that chance. Like for real. Well, no, it's
with the rise of Skywalker.
With Disney owning it, I feel like it's never going to end now.
No, we got the Mandalorian series. The app for Disney Plus is in November, in my birth month. So that's a great gift from Disney to me for that Mandalorian series. I can't wait. It's one of those things that I'm just like...
I'm just worried. Like, is this one of those, as long as it's making money, Disney's just going to keep shelling it out. And especially with this last one, if they're like, it's going to be the last one. This movie's going to make a lot of money.
The end of the... Well, they are taking a break from the movies for a while, which I think is okay. But with the Disney era, I would say, I love Force Awakens because it was a reintroduction back into this universe. It was it was like the past repeats itself. Mm-hmm. Solo, I really, really enjoyed. The more I watch that movie, the more I fall in love with that movie.
See, I remember the first time we went and watched that movie and you walked out, you were not a big fan of that.
Yeah, but I think the thing that threw me off was like the Darth Maul. Spoilers, I don't know if at this point...
But it's not even like you had so many problems with that movie originally.
Yeah, but
the
more
how he got his name. You didn't like all of.
I do. I still don't like how he got his name.
You didn't like a lot of the callbacks because they were stupid callbacks. Like it's not that they were dumb as like in context of the movie, but it's like, we're making reference to this.
Well, the aspect of Solo, when I walked out, I was like, yeah, okay, sure. But then the more I actually watch that movie, which I do quite a bit now, I actually watch more and more. I'm falling in love with it more and more because it feels more Star Wars than The Last Jedi ever did. For me, and at least I can walk out of Solo and be like, yeah, I have my problems, and yeah, I'm going to think about them, but I'm going to still watch the movie. I'm falling more in love with this movie, unlike Aquaman.
But yeah, but that's another. You said you just put two really low bars to compare it to for you. Like, oh, my two least favorite movies. It's better than that. I'm like, okay, but that doesn't make it any.
We're gonna argue now. See what happens. I just want to do a nice tribute.
This is what Star Wars does, though. No, for truth, this is what Star Wars does, and any fan base is, or I mean, especially the Star Wars fan base is. People are set in their ways on it. People,
I am. I'm bad. I am really bad. Like,
there's a reason that there's one specific movie that hasn't been brought up. And
you don't want if this movie's brought up and this argument happens, you're probably going to be watching a 20-minute rant, then ending up in a fight, then
ending up in my wife kicking both of us out of the house.
Yeah. So we were actually banned from talking about this in my house.
Yeah, in mine too. So technically, The Last Jedi we're not supposed to talk about either, but we haven't really been talking about it. You just brought reference to it, so we're going to call that good. Yes. But there's two specific Star Wars movies that, well, one of them's a Star Wars story. But that we very much disagree on, and we're good buddies, and it doesn't ruin our friendship. It ruins our wives' times being around us, but it doesn't ruin our friendship.
I like telling people too. The first time we really argued about it, where my wife was like, "You guys gotta."
There was almost words that were said that couldn't be taken back. That his wife. We were in his house, and there's like. Are you guys going to be okay? And we're just like,
yeah.
But we're just like, yeah. I mean, we love Star Wars, and that's why. Like, we're so passionate about Star Wars that it's worth arguing about. It's not worth losing our friendship because at the end of the day, we both know that we both love Star Wars a lot.
Mm-hmm. And that's what happens. This is the thing. Like, we used to argue about all types of movies and all types of, the universes that are around us right now. We still argue. Mm-hmm. But we still have fun coming in the day, and that's the beautiful thing about this. About Star Wars, we can come to an end and be like, all right, well, I appreciate this, I appreciate this.
And it was definitely the most heated conversation we ever had, but it's because Star Wars means so much to each of us.
Yeah. All right, well, on that note, before we go, I want to say rest in peace, Peter Mayhew. Chewbacca has risen to the stars, and he's up there with Princess Leia. I'm seeing a lot of beautiful little tributes and memes right here.
And I told you this yesterday, but to me it is a little... weird how two of the remaining original characters are alive in universe but have passed away in real life.
Especially when a new movie's coming up.
Yeah, so this is what happened with Carrie Fisher. Was we were in the same year that The Last Jedi was coming out, and she passed away, and that sucked.
Yeah.
But but now we're in the same situation.
R.I.P. Carrie Fisher, R.I.P. Peter Mayhew, and to all of you, happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you always. I am K&B the Sexy Ninja.
And I'm Flix.
And we'll catch you later.